Have you ever made a New Year's resolution? Actually, let me add on to that. Have you ever made a resolution that you actually kept?
New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolution.
Finally, we're talking New Year's resolutions.
An estimated 40% of Americans will likely make one of those New Year's resolutions.
Why is it so hard, I guess is the question, to keep a New Year's resolution?
Chances are you haven't, and that's okay, I get it. It just frustrates me when I see my friends create all these resolutions just for them to fall through.
I do not think that I've ever kept a New Year's resolution.
It's really hard to remember whether or not I've actually completed a New Year's resolution in the past because I always forget what my New Year's resolution is by the end of the year.
Sometimes I do make goals, not just for New Year's. But
I've never made a resolution before because I know I'm never going to stick to them because I'm lazy as
But this year, in the glorious 2025, I want to do this right. I want to find the perfect resolutions for me, both as a high schooler and just in general. I want resolutions I could actually stick to for the full 365 and not forget about by January 2nd. And after a little bit of research, I think I found the perfect person to talk to. So I gotta get a move on. I have an interview to catch. So what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Sophia Choukas-Bradley. I am a clinical psychologist and an associate professor of psychology at the University of Pittsburgh.
What work have you done regarding New Year's resolutions?
I have not done any research on New Year's resolutions, but as a clinical psychologist, I've worked with many people as a therapist to help them identify the right New Year's resolutions and try to work toward them.
She's also greatly underrepresenting herself here. She was part of a larger article about resolutions made by her university, which was super good. I'll leave a link in the description. But either way, she's very qualified. So before we get into how you would suggest creating a resolution, I would like to know what to focus on, because my goal from this video is to find good resolutions that I can go into 2025 with. So could I find what topic I should do a resolution about?
So what I recommend is that you first do an exercise called values clarification. So if you do a Google search for values card sort, this is something from acceptance and commitment therapy. It's the basic idea is that you're looking at this range of values that most of us find important to some extent, but we're trying to figure out what are the most important values to us. And that helps me to figure out going into a new year, what are the areas of my life where I want to do something to better align the way I'm living my life with those core values. You want to come up with something called a SMART goal.
But unfortunately, right before she began explaining what a SMART goal is...
It's actually breaking up and I can't hear you anymore. Oh. I can't hear you. It's breaking up in a frog-like way.
All right, so I just finished the card sort values activity that Dr. Sophia was talking about, and I think that it was very helpful. I feel like it helped me learn a lot about what I want from this upcoming year, and I highly suggest you guys do it. I had a really fun time doing it, especially if you guys are following along doing the resolutions as well. I do recommend you guys do this as well. So my 3 values that I came out with is health, industry, which is like growing your work, and then knowledge, which is kind of college as well. I'll get more into it later. But what I've realized is I don't have a solid way of getting from these sort of ideas of values to a full SMART goal resolution. And so for that, I will be doing another interview tomorrow morning. I swear this is the last interview I have, but the one with Dr. Sophia was cut short due to time and Wi-Fi. You saw that whole issue. So that will be tomorrow morning. And for now, it is dark outside. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, it's morning. Let's go do that interview. So we'll get started pretty easy and simple. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Omid Fotuhi. I am a research psychologist.
You were co-interviewed, I don't think at the same time, but you were co-interviewed with Dr. Sophia, who is someone that I interviewed recently. I talked to her last week. So she talked about 2 main things to me. She told me about value card sorting and about SMART goals.
The reason why the value sorting exercise is also really important is because it helps you really reflect on what are the things that you really want, right? Like what are the things that align with your values. But that being said, let's say you've done the work, you've taken some time to reflect on your priorities and your values, and you've chosen a goal. And in order to get towards the goal, a SMART goal is essentially a set of techniques that help ensure that you make a continuous progress towards that goal. The first one being that your goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. Let's say I say that my goal is I want to be a good person. That makes that the attainment of that goal kind of difficult because you don't really know what the success looks like, because the definition of being a good person is very broad, it's very, very vague. Helping you get greater focus. So whatever goal you have, you also need an objective measurement of when you've achieved that goal, what success looks like. If I said that I want to be the best person in the world, as opposed to just, someone who has integrity, who's generous, who lives by his values, those are sort of more attainable goals. Be honest with yourself and kind of know what you can achieve. A goal that isn't contained within a certain time can go on forever, and ironically what happens with goals, once you've accepted a goal, your mind kind of attaches a sense of self-worth to whether or not you achieve that goal.
All right, I'm gonna have to pause Mr. Fotuhi here. He brought up a lot of great points about very unique types of resolutions, and they're super interesting. I'll get to them in a second. But first, I have my last debate practice today and my last frisbee practice tomorrow for the rest of the year. So I'm gonna go meet up with some friends in each club and make up some normal SMART goal resolutions first. My goal for this video is to create a resolution for each area of my life. As I've already said, the first two are frisbee and debate, both for the industry value because they're part of my life's work. For the rest of these topics, I'll use some more specific tools Mr. Fotuhi gave me, but I wanted to record with some people from my teams before practices ended for the year. But even though these goals won't have new techniques like later in the video, they're a good example of what SMART goals could look like. Alrighty, we are here with Mr. Ariel. He is the founder of our debate team.
Hi, I'm Ariel. I founded the parliamentary debate team here last year and have been serving as captain ever since.
Alrighty, we are at our last frisbee practice of the year. We just finished a track run. Everything hurts. So this is my fellow captain. What's good? What I learned from my interview is that SMART goals are very important. So our goal is to think of a SMART resolution, because I did an interview with this guy who's very proficient in New Year's resolutions, and he said a SMART goal is the best way to go. As we are both captains, we got to figure out some good goals for us and for the team. And so when I'm thinking of resolutions, there's one thing that comes to mind. We have a tournament in April. It does happen to be called the Tournament of Champions. And I'm trying to go to it. And I'm sure you are too.
I am 100% trying to go to it.
So I think there's two routes of thought here. There's either just like set a goal for amount of tournaments you want to go to, and that way you'll be like more likely to do well in those tournaments if you go to the most. The second option is something that's more about practicing so you can get better in the tournaments you go to. So there's a couple of different routes, right? Because we could do like amount of practices to go to, amount of games to win. Yeah, we're doing some SMART goals out here. You should watch my video when it comes out on December 31st, and with that video, think of some resolutions for yourself. See that? We already got a viewer.
I'd love to go down the practice route. How could not only I facilitate practice in a better way, but how can you guys be more engaged?
He's also a captain, by the way. Actually join up here. Join up.
I want to win the B team championships for the city this year.
For city or states?
City.
City? Did we do that last year?
No.
I don't think we made the playoffs. We only won a couple.
All right, so what's going to be different this year from last year that's going to get us there?
The team culture. I think we got to work on getting people to show up, getting people to run, getting people to be motivated, just like today.
Maybe, I don't know if this is like too much of a hassle, but taking notes during practice.
I think that's always a beneficial thing. Writing stimulates the memory, and I think that you definitely memorize things when you start to write things down.
I'm thinking of doing also a couple team bonding and team building, because if we're all really good but we just don't know how to play together, then that's not going to be beneficial.
I think we're good for a goal then. So a good potential goal could be to just take in notes every time you're at practice, and then spend maybe 10 minutes when you get home looking over them. Are we specifying practices, or are we saying
no, player-led events?
Activities. Practice. All right. So we saying what number? What do you think is a achievable number?
Player-led practices and events.
I'm thinking 5.
Yeah, I was thinking 5.
5. Do you want to on 3-on-3 on that?
Blank on 3.
Blank on 3-on-3? Because I can't dox myself. Blank on 3. All right. Blank on 3-on-3. 1, 2, 3, blank on 3. So the hope is that we can also get some of the non-varsities and even other varsities to start taking some notes as well.
I agree entirely. I think that would be the most beneficial way to go about our way.
So we'll try that when we get back from the holidays.
Fine.
Yes, I got a haircut. No, we're not going to talk about it. All right, welcome to my fort. This is where we're going to be doing what's called fort verifications. Basically, after every time we finish resolution, we're going to come here in the beautiful darkness of the night, and we will certify the resolution, make sure it's a SMART goal, everything we have to do to officially add it to the board. To make sure that all the... No! It fell. Hello again. Before I got so rudely interrupted by the earthquake that happened here, it was definitely not just me accidentally hitting it and knocking it over. On the side, I'm going to show all 5 letters and make sure that our goal hits everything on the checklist of a SMART resolution. And I'll be doing it here on my tablet. You guys will see it on the side here. Alright, so now on to the actual Frisbee and debate goals we made. It's actually really nice seeing how 2 completely opposite groups could still come together to make very similar resolutions, because you have, like, you know, the nerds and the athletes, and still there was a very similar path to create the SMART goals we ended up with. And Ariel was actually smart enough to run through the SMART acronym while I was with him. So on the side here, instead of showing the normal checklist, I'll just let him explain through everything real quick.
Let's check. Is our goal specific?
It is specific every time we're at practice.
Is it measurable?
It is measurable. Every time you show up, you need to have a paper by the end of it.
Is it achievable?
It is. I think it's pretty easy to complete.
Is it relevant?
It is pretty relevant because we want to keep that information inside of us, right?
And is it time bound?
I think it is, because it's like every single practice you're going to write something. All right. Thank you, Ariel, for that. And now I'm forced to do Frisbee on my own because Noah was not smart enough to do it with us. No shade to Noah, though. All right. So the goal for Frisbee was to do at least 5 player run events before the end of the season, which is like the end of May, early June. Specific, it is very specific. We know exactly what that constitutes. It is measurable, 5 events. It is both attainable and reasonable. Once a month is not too hard to pull off, but still pushes us to do better. And it is time bound, obviously by the end of the season, we'll have to have done 5. Alright, so now I can go back to Mr. Fotuhi, and he'll tell us about the first specific tools for New Year's resolutions. Now remember that these tools aren't applicable to everything like a SMART goal is. So if you see that you're going to make a topic about a goal similar to mine when I use a tool, then completely feel free to use that tool, but otherwise maybe think before you do it. Let's get started.
Set a plan that not only includes how it is that you want to achieve what you want to achieve, but also getting rid of the barriers that stand in your way. So for example, a common goal that people say is, I just want to study more. And then they'll say, you know, typically when I get home, let's say at 5 p.m. I usually eat dinner at 6:30, and then I have to, like, you know, wash dishes, and then I'm tired, want to, like, watch a little bit of TV, and then I gotta prep for the next day and all this stuff. And they say, I just don't have time.
So for reference, my academic goal last year was to get at least 6 A's in both school semesters, which I did. Feel free to clap. Or not, whatever. And that seemed to motivate me enough to get good grades. So I think I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to keep the same resolution to get a certain amount of A's in both semesters. I might tweak the number a little bit because low-key this year is harder. But I'll write down a fixed schedule that I have to use because, as Mr. Fotuhi said, setting a plan is always the best way to get success.
Another framework that I think is critical is this broader domain of impulse control. So we all know that one of the challenges to setting goals is that we have impulses or temptations to do other things that are more fun.
He brings up a good point here. Why would you do your homework when you can really easily switch tabs and play games instead? But before we solve that, the schedule! Alright, that was really dramatic, but what I'm gonna do now is go through my weekly schedule and block out some time that I know I'm gonna spend doing homework. And if any of you have a similar goal, you want to spend more time doing a certain thing, this could be really helpful in blocking out time for that. Alright, let's speedrun through this. Alright, first up, Mondays and Wednesdays, I have debate. I finish debate around 5:30. I get home half an hour later around 6. I'll take off my backpack, I'll grab a snack and watch something to decompress from the day, and finally, I get started with homework around 6 p.m. On Frisbee days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will get home from Frisbee around 7:30. I'll take off my backpack, I'll take a quick shower, then I'll go eat dinner because I'm hungry, and then finally get started on my homework around 8:30 p.m. And then we have Friday. Friday, I get home, I grab my gym bag, and I go straight to the gym after school. When I come back home, I take a shower, I grab a snack and watch something so I can get a little bit of food in my stomach, and we're finally starting homework around 5 p.m. Before we finish, I actually want to go back to Wednesday real quick. Instead of the homework section, I'm going to add this mysterious little block. I'll explain what it is later in the video, but for now, I guess they'll remain a mystery. Alright, perfect. So now I've created our schedule, so now I can move on to the next thing, which was... Oh, hold on. Oh, right. This is all a sign for impulse control, isn't it?
The longer an impulse is allowed to enter your mind, the stronger it gets. But the earlier you can intervene to distance your mind from that impulse, then the better chance you have at being able to resist that temptation.
Now, I do admit that this isn't always possible. For example, I do always need my phone for a lot of my homework assignments, but there's still a lot of ways you can minimize your distractions. For example, this device right here I basically only use for entertainment. So what I can really easily do is just throw it out of the room. Ooh, that hurt the device. Because outside of YouTube and Netflix, I really don't use this for anything at all. Wait, why is it dark in here? Oh, I use this for fort verifications too. Hello again. We are back at our fort for another fort verification. I do have a predicament to tell you guys about in a moment, so let's get through this pretty quickly. You'll see why in a second. Alright, for this goal, I'm choosing to stick with the same goal I had last year, with the same number as I said earlier, so I'm going to be trying to get 6 A's in both school semesters. I think that with this added schedule that I'm creating for myself, this should be pretty doable, because now instead of slacking off all the time, I know when I'll be taking my breaks and when I'll be doing my work. Alright, so specific. Yes, it is specific. I'm saying the exact number. For that same reason, it is also measurable. I need at least 6 A's in both semesters. I think it is both attainable and reasonable. I did it this past year, and if I have the schedule now, I see no reason why I can't do it again. And it is time-bound for both school semesters, so the one that ends in June and the one that ends in December for 2025. Alright, so now that's a predicament I have. I'll take the camera with me. I do happen to have a bit of an issue at the moment, which is the time that it is right now. It is the middle of the night on the day that I'm uploading this. Theoretically, this video is going to be uploaded in 7 hours. Alright, so here's my game plan for now. Normally, if I were in this situation, I would just postpone the video for a week or two and get it out in the middle of January. However, because the nature of this video, it needs to get out today before 2024 ends. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to continue showing the rest of these topics here. What I am going to do, however, is introduce something that I was going to talk about in this topic. So I'm going to actually reveal that right now. It's YouTube. So for a little bit of context, last year my YouTube goal was to upload 10 videos on an old channel, because obviously this is the first video on this channel. But I only ended up uploading, I think, 4 videos, so not even close to 10. So what Mr. Fotuhi recommended is that this year I work on scheduling out when I do my goals. Very similar to the homework strategy of setting a plan almost. And so remember that thing I talked about from the homework goal that I was going to introduce later? Well, here it is. I'm going to do weekly streams. Every single Wednesday, starting when we come back from winter break, I'm going to be doing study streams in the afternoons. Basically, after I get home from debate, I'm going to do my homework live on stream with you guys. My hope for this is that we can make studying a little bit more fun for all of us. I'll explain more during our actual first stream, which is going to be January 8th, probably around 7 p.m.-ish EST. I'm still working on it. So for half an hour, I'm going to be doing homework, and there'll be a wide shot somewhere over there. And then for 15 minutes, we'll take a break together as chat. We can reconvene. I'll talk to you guys over here. I'm still getting used to that. And hopefully we can have some really fun moments while still getting all of our work done. I need to get that camera back from down there. So more definitive information is still coming on that soon, but all you guys need to know for now is January 8th on this channel around 7 p.m. EST. Be there or be behind on your studying. I still need to work on a catchphrase as well. All right, we're back. Sorry for that change of clothes and change of like whole mood. I recorded that earlier if you couldn't tell. But because I'm not going to be able to show off the rest of these, I'm only going to very quickly go over my topics, and then on my very first stream on January 8th, I can take any questions you guys may have about my goals. I also don't think I'll have time to upload the full Mr. Fotuhi interview when this video launches, but I'll make sure to try to add it into the description of the video or make a pinned comment soon. So if it's been a couple days since the video's been out, check in the description or the comments. I'm pretty sure I will have uploaded an unlisted full interview by then. So to make sure I have time to finish editing and get this video out, I'm gonna start going over these. So the first of my health goals is about sleep. And a strategy that I thought was really cool that I never thought about that Mr. Fotuhi brought up is the idea of progressing your resolution as you go through the year. Basically making it harder as you go along so you can start off easy. So simply for my goal for sleep is to be off any devices for a certain amount of time before I go to sleep. But I know it's a really hard thing to actually do. So I'm gonna start off in the first month or two just saying 5 minutes, right? And then the next month maybe 10 and then 15. And my hope is that by the end of the year, I'll be 30 minutes before bed without any devices because I know how good for sleep that'll be for me. The second health topic I had was the gym. At the part where I was talking about setting my schedule, I very briefly showed a video of me watching fitness YouTubers. And what I've realized while starting to go to the gym, I started going a few months ago, and watching all these fitness YouTubers, is that they can give some good advice, but no personal advice. And so what I really want from this year is to get more personal advice from people who go to the gym. So again, to cut it short, I have so much more I want to say. My goal is to ask 5 people who seem like they know what they're doing at the gym and kind of ask them to help me out a little bit with how I'm working out at the gym. So now after that full journey, we finally made it to the end. It's so wonderful seeing how we've had our values that affect our topics that lead to our final resolutions for this upcoming year. And it couldn't have been done without the essential SMART goals. I truly do believe if you have a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time-bound, you will achieve your resolution almost no matter what. And you also can't forget the more specific tools that we learned along the way as well. You could split up your goal, make it harder as you go along. You could try asking experts in your topic for help because they might know a lot more than you do. And something that I think is a good tool for most goals, set a plan or a schedule for how you're going to get it done. And after completing this journey, I really do feel so much more well-equipped to go into 2025 with these resolutions. I also told my friends about all these tactics along the way, and they thought of their own resolutions that I'm really proud of them for making.
For this year, my New Year's resolution is probably to keep my Simply Guitar streak and my Duolingo streak going.
I think my New Year's resolution this year is just gonna be like continuing to have like a positive outlook on situations.
And this year, I'm going to try to go to the YMCA and swim 3 times a week.
I guess my goal is to not be as lazy, meaning spending less time doing absolutely nothing.
Alright, maybe that last one wasn't such a SMART goal, but we'll let it slide, So I guess that's all for this. Thank you guys so much for, you sure you don't have one more thing to talk about? What are you talking about? No, because if I do remember correctly, you definitely have. Dude, cut it out, we're not. Dude, come on, you've heard it so often, you have to bring it up. It's the end of the video, you need to. Dude, you're ruining the end of the video, you can't. You know what, fine, you do whatever you think you can do. Don't mind if I do. By the way, we're back to middle of the night on December 31st me. Alright, so, the thing that I was talking about there. There has been one topic that I have heard come up over and over and over again throughout this video. This is something I've heard both on camera while recording as well as from several friends offline. I'll play a couple of clips here and let's see if you can catch on to what it is.
I tend to be happy with my life and what I'm doing.
I don't really I just do whatever makes me happy.
Yeah, something that I kept shrugging off is that goals aren't for everyone. And while my hope from this video is to show people that goals can be very flexible and they can be good for you no matter how you choose to do it, as these all show, it just isn't enough for some people. And that's okay, I get it. You know, there's also one line in the interview I had with Mr. Fotuhi that I shrugged off in the moment, but now that I think about it, it is pretty important.
And so again, as we think about goals, we shouldn't conflate them with their true intent of being a tool that helps us to move forward. I think there's this trap in our culture where there's this connotation that if you don't have goals, then you're not worthy, then you're not an effective person. And that's certainly not something I want to endorse. You've got to figure out, are goals tools that I want to use? And if they are, then there's certainly a lot of strategies. for.
There's actually this quote that I really like from Mr. Fotuhi that I found in the very early days of my research for this video, and I think it's really beautiful and something that we should all keep in mind going into 2025. The important thing about goals is that they motivate you to keep moving. So whether you choose to set them or not, focus on the areas that you want to evolve and grow that are unending.